Okay, Luke. So this is the Sector 2 review for the lap comparisons between your personal best from our session and the demo lap that I ran, the 130. So we've got a 132, which was your best time, and the 130 that was my demo lap time. Just going to show a quick example of the differences, or just kind of define the differences between what you were doing out there and what I was doing. Very quickly, my gains on this sector, I gained about 4/10 of a second on you, so it's definitely sizable, and worth noting the differences. So coming up here, leading into turn 4, this is coming up the hill. We're going to see I've carried a little bit more speed, and we discussed that earlier in sector 1. I'm gaining that due to my exit of turn 3. So just bear that in mind. So that gives me a little bit of an advantage here. Not really gaining a heck of a lot of time here. You can see I gain about 2/200ths of a second here, if I'm reading that right. So not a massive gain, but still accounts for a little bit. Coming in here, we can see that throttle falls off. Our braking is relatively similar. I'm actually braking a little bit harder than you in this area. And this is the braking zone for turn 4. But then you can see I'm releasing that brake pressure a little bit more. I'm releasing more brake pressure than you are, which is causing me to have more mid-corner speed as I bend down to that apex, and then resulting in a higher min speed. So you can see basically as I get about halfway through that corner, I start to release that brake pressure. I'm using that brake pressure to trail. I'm using trailing braking in order to be able to get that car to turn in, but also trying to use it so that I don't sacrifice too much speed. And what we can see is a pretty massive gain in time between turn 4, between basically the midpoint of turn 4, which is right here. You can see bottom corner here, up to coming down the hill in turn 4 and the entry to 5. So I carry a nice bump in speed here that does make a significant difference in my time, the amount of time that I gain on you through that sector. What's interesting then is that in turn 5, and this is very much a patience corner, and we can take a look at our throttle inputs here. Turn 5 is very much a patience corner. And so as I enter turn 5, I've actually given up a little bit of speed on you. We can see that split in the curve, and we can see that impact on the time right here. And so coming in there, what I've done is, and this is very much a patience turn 5, you can see I have started going to the throttle a little bit earlier than you, but that's only because I gave up a little bit too much speed. There is potential here for me to actually make gains on you. But more importantly, what's happening is I'm getting the car turned in, and that's my sacrifice in speed here, is to get that car turned in and get it down to that apex. And then we may be able to see a little of it here. So we're running a slightly different line here. I'm turning in here, running it slightly narrower than you. We're both getting down to the apex, and then it looks like I'm just exiting a little bit better than you. I've made it around the corner potentially a little bit more and gotten the car a little bit straighter with the late apex exiting that corner. And again, I've done that by sacrificing speed and getting that front end to turn a little bit. And then from there, I can start applying that throttle. And interestingly enough, you go to the throttle a little bit harder than I do, and a little bit earlier than I do. But because I've sacrificed that speed and gotten that car to turn right in here, and actually I should rephrase that. Your ultimate throttle input comes a little bit faster than mine, right? But from here, I've started going to the throttle a little bit earlier than you have, even though I'm at a lower speed. By carrying that throttle and starting to accelerate out, and bear in mind, this is a mistake on both of our parts. So I started going to the throttle a little bit too easy early here. I gave it up, and then I started applying it again, which means I went to it too early. A better solution would have been if I had delayed a little bit longer in going to the throttle. and then applied it and just had a smooth upturn here. And that might allow me to get on it and go harder on it a little bit earlier in the process. But regardless, because of the way I did it, which is I went to the throttle a little bit earlier, came out, and then started going it to add it again after sacrificing that corner speed in order to get the car to turn. Here, we're starting to see the big difference in the gain that I made because I sacrificed that speed early on. So this is the whole slow in, fast out mantra. Gave up speed early and then started applying that throttle and then carried that speed out. And we can see that in the split, right? I have on exit, I'm consistently carrying 3 miles an hour more than you, 2 miles an hour, all the way up to track out. So that does make a difference, especially given how long that straightaway is going to be through turn 6 and into turn 7. So we'll pick up in the next sector and show that. But that's really the big thing here is it's such a patience corner, turn 5, and it's really difficult for people. Sometimes you have to give that speed up early in order to be able to get it later, because the speed that you get later is going to last you for that entire straightaway. All right, we'll catch up in sector 3.